Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Quick question. Do you like to bake? Like cookies and cakes, bread, things like that? I love baking. I love baking. Some people do like out of the packet baking, which I don't understand. That's all foreign to me. I like to bake from scratch. I like to bake a lot of things. I like to bake my own bread, but I don't often do it because it's quite tricky to keep it fresh for like more than a day. It's like it turns to rock after the second day. it's it's rendered useless essentially. And I like to bake cookies. And I like to bake cakes. My little boy likes to eat them. Yeah, we like baking. It's it's a really good skill though. I remember why I started baking. I started baking because I tried these cookies once, and I could order the pizza and then order some cookies that came with it because I was like, oh, why not? And they were the nicest cookies in the world. Oh my god, I was so in love with these cookies. They were so good, and the taste of those cookies it was in my mouth for like days and days after. Not because I didn't brush my teeth, yeah, because they were so good. They were so good, and I was just like, man, I wish I could bake cookies like that all the time. Man, I want to learn how to bake cookies, and so I taught myself. And I taught myself with raw ingredients, and I played around with cookies, and I started baking. What was it? Oh, white chocolate and fudge. That was my cookie, and everyone loved it. Everybody loved my cookies when I made them. I'd always make far too much. My recipe, for some reason, called for 70,000 cookies to come out in that batch. I always had too many. I'm not going to eat that. I'm like, I have to give it away. And that's always the way when I make stuff. I always make far too much by accident. But I learned how to make my own cookies. And then from there, I was like, I want to make my own cakes. And so again, I worked it out, and similar mixture, to be honest with you. It wasn't too bad, similar wise, like ingredient wise. Um, and now whenever I make a cake, which by the way is chocolate nut spread, popular, begins with an N, I probably won't say it. It's delicious. It will probably give you diabetes. It will go straight to your hips. It's incredibly rich, but it's so good. It's so good. But because I learned to make it from scratch, I was like, man, I love it. I love it. And then bread was the same thing. It was just like, it's so good when it comes out of the oven. It's fresh, it's soft on the inside, it's crusty on the outside. It's lovely, it's perfect. But then it dies after a day, so that's annoying. And yeah, I used to bake. I used to do loads of baking. Years ago, I used to do a lot of baking. And I had to go into retirement a while ago because there was a slight mishap with something that I'd done, and I was too ashamed to come back from that. I was too ashamed to ever bake ever again. And I'll tell you what it was. It was the night before my brother's birthday, and I was sitting at home with my partner at the time, and I said, "Oh, I don't think anyone's got a cake for him. Oh my god!" And I phoned up my mum. I was like, "Mum, have you got a cake for him?" She's like, "No." I'm like, Mum, like it's his birthday. She's like, "No, I didn't really think about it." I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, Dad, have you got a cake?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Whoa, no one's got. It's his birthday. He's having a party. He's having people over tomorrow. He hasn't got a cake. Oh my god, I've got to save the day. I'm going to make him a cake." So this was my plan. And so I was like, right, we're going to shops real quick because I'm low on a bunch of stuff. And butter was the biggest problem, because if you're trying to use like butter from the fridge to bake a cake, good luck. Especially if you're doing it by hand, which I was. I didn't have anything like any mixers or anything. So yeah, I went to the shops and I got all my bits and I came back, and then I spoke to my partner at the time. I was like, what kind of cake should we build? Should we make? We need to make a really cool cake. It's got to be cool. I don't want to just do a basic old whatever sponge cake or something. I want to do something special. Because he's my brother and I want him to have a nice birthday. So we were like, well, what does he like? And we thought about it and we were like, oh, he loves Doctor Who. Okay, of course he does. Okay, we'll do a Doctor. And I was like, first of all, doing a Doctor Who cake, a bit much, a little bit more technical than I think I can manage, even combined. I'm not sure if you and I can do this together. He's like, no, we'll do it. And he was like, right, what we'll do is we'll build a TARDIS. I was like, right, okay. And then we'll do like a vortex looking thing on top of the cake, and the the TARDIS is falling into the vortex sort of jib, and I was like, okay. He said, all right, all you got to do, Kate, you focus on the ingredients and making the cake taste good, and I will make it look sexy. I will turn it into the sexiest Doctor Who cake that anyone's ever seen, because I'm that confident. That's what he said. I was like, all right, okay. So I'd been to the shops already. I got all my bits. What I didn't realise was that there was one thing I was missing. I have something I add when I make a cake. I usually always add golden syrup, a good amount of it, because it's just a nice additional extra nice thing. And I didn't have enough golden syrup. I ran out. I didn't realise, and I didn't want to go to the shops again, and I really wish I had. But then if I had gone to the shops, I wouldn't have this story to tell. Because I didn't have enough golden syrup, I was like, well, it's fine, we can counter that. I'll just add a little bit extra vanilla essence. That should be fine. That should be fine. That should be delicious. That would taste all the yum yum. So we made the cake, right? Took it out of the oven, and he decorated it, and he built a little TARDIS, and credit where credit's due, he did a really good job, a fantastic job. I looked at that cake and I was like, wow, that's a cake to be proud of. He's going to love it. My brother's going to love it. Oh, it's going to be great. Perfect. Thank you for making it look like a TARDIS and a cool vortex. Like, it looks great. And so the next day comes, and we go over to see to my parents' house, where my brother is, and presented him with the cake. And I said, you know, it's just because no one had a cake for you, so I wanted you to have a cake. You can't have a birthday without a cake. And he's like, oh, thanks, that's really kind of you. And so the afternoon went on. Everyone was chatting about doing whatever they were doing. And then it came time to, like, do the cake. So, like, my brother said, you know, oh, should we have some cake? And they were like, yeah, all right, cut the cake. It looks cool. And so they cut the cake. And I heard them. So they were in the kitchen. I was in the conservatory, which is right next to the kitchen. And even with the door shut to the conservatory, the windows are so thin, you can hear easily what people are saying in that room. And so I heard them, and I was sitting out in the conservatory with my mum, and I heard my brother and his friends next door cutting the cake. And then they all had a plate each, and they all took a bite. And as they took a bite, the room fell silent. And I was like, oh no, they hate my cake. Oh my God, they hate my cake. And then everyone started laughing shortly after that. And I was like, what are you laughing about? What's so funny? And then I got really upset because I went out of my way to bake my brother a cake for his birthday. And so naturally I'm thinking, oh man, you just don't like it, do you? You don't even appreciate it. Like, I tried to do a nice thing. And you're just laughing about it. What are you laughing at? You're just being mean for no reason. And I started crying anyway, as I did. And he comes through realising that I'm crying. And he realises that he thinks that I'm, like, upset because that laughter must mean that it's taking the mickey or something. So he comes through and he says, Kate, we're not laughing at you or anything like that. That's not what this is. He said, Kate, try the cake. And I said, no, I don't want to try the cake. Like, I'm so upset. I was like, I felt so betrayed at this moment. He's like, try the cake. I'm like, I don't want to try the cake. And he kept asking me, try the cake. Just try the cake, Kate. Honestly, just try it. You'll see you'll understand in a minute what's just happened between us as a group, as a collective. You'll understand that if you try the cake. And I was like, fine. So I did. I tried the cake, and the same response is what happened. I went silent as I was tasting it, and then I laughed, and he was like, "See, you get it, Kate." I was like, I'm like, oh my God, that's disgusting. It was the most disgusting cake that I'd ever made. And I was like, well, how could this happen? I don't understand. And my brain started to rattle off, like, what did I do? What went wrong? And I realised it's because I put too much vanilla in. And I didn't have enough golden syrup. And yeah, like, it was a cool looking cake. It tasted like crap. But I say all this to say, there's a lot of people out there that will, instead of making a cake from scratch and learning from the mistakes, like I did, or cookies or bread or anything like that, they'll use a machine or use a packet or whatever. They'll get it out of the box, or they'll just get someone to do it for them. They just buy it from the shops instead. But it's a really good skill to learn. Whether you end up using it in life a lot, it's still good to do. I wanted to learn it because I thought it's always handy, especially if I'm going to have children, and I knew I would do one day. And I want to be able to bake them cookies and cakes and all the things. And so it was good. So it was a good life skill to have. And so I wanted to set that up for myself because I knew it'd be handy one day. And also because I can practice and I can, just give everybody cookies all the time. They all like the cookies. But I did that because I wanted that skill, okay? Now, let's apply this to building a website. It's very similar. You could hire somebody to build it for you. Easy. I can't tell you how many web designers are in the world right now. So many. So many. And you could get them to do it for you, and then just pay them the amount, tell them what you want, walk away, forget about it. Hope that they do a good job. You'll want them to change a bunch of different things, and then if something goes wrong with it, if they're not maintaining it for you, and you have to fix it yourself, you won't know how to fix it yourself, will you? You'll have to pay them to do it, or find somebody else to do it, or let it just break and fall apart. Whereas when you learn a skill, as in teach a man to fish type of, you'll know if something goes wrong with your website, you'll know what to do, won't you? You'll know how to fix it. You'll be able to work it out. You'll be able to trace your steps backwards. You'll be able to see the last update perhaps and be like, oh, okay, the conflict started from over this point. Therefore, I know it's probably connected to that plugin update. Okay, right, fine. Now we can work it. We can work our way. Let's disable that plugin for a minute. Let's just see if it works with that. Let's just like troubleshoot and figure some things out. We can work it out because we understand the steps that it's taken to get to that broken place to begin with. And it's a skill that's worth learning. So I say all of this story time to just say it's important to learn skills. And yeah, you could just outsource it and just get someone else to do it. But are you learning anything? No, you're not learning it. You're just learning how to send a payment over and to ask you for your website to be built. You're giving somebody instruction. This is what I want. Go and do it. And here's some money. Thanks. And that's it. But you're not learning it. You could learn it, and you should learn it, because if something goes wrong, don't you want to be able to fix it? Like in every part of our business, I know I've got to become semi-expert level at everything to do with my business, because if something goes wrong over here and I've got someone and I've hired someone to take care of that, right? Let's say they're away for 3 weeks on holiday and the pickles just arose and I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? Well, there's nothing I can do because they're not back for 3 weeks. Fabulous, but I've got to sort this out in 48 hours. Alright, well, because I'm doing it all myself though, because I've become a semi-expert at everything, especially when it comes to web design, I'm more of an expert there, but because I understand everything, because I understand every aspect of my business, if something goes wrong, which doesn't really happen because I stay on top of it, but if something does go wrong, I know what to do. I know how to fix it. I know how to take care of that because I've taught myself that skill. It's an invaluable skill. All entrepreneurs should really understand every single element and aspect of their business. And it's applicable in life. Just like baking a cake from scratch, buying a bread maker. I'm sorry, if you're a bread maker person and you use a thing, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's good that you're making your own bread. But you can just make it yourself without a bread. You don't need a machine. That's what I'm saying. You don't need to use that stuff. You don't need to buy a packet mixture for cupcakes. If you want to just learn to build your own, because you'll learn some really good recipes. You'll learn some really cool things along the way. And it's really fun if you like doing stuff like that, I guess. If you don't like doing stuff like that, you won't enjoy it. But it's the same with WordPress. It's the same with web design, okay? You should learn it. It's more beneficial for you, for your business, or for whatever project you've got. It's more beneficial for you if you know how to build it, if you've learned how to build it, and then if something does happen or you want to change things, let's say you want to update it and you want to change the whole theme for your website, or you want to completely redo the whole thing, or you want to add a big old section to it and you want to add this, you want to turn it into an e-commerce store. Okay, what are you going to do? If you've hired someone to do it, are you going to hire somebody else? Did you run out of money? Do you have enough money? Because that could be a big job. It could be, depending on the size of your store, depending on how much of an overhaul we're talking about for your entire website. Or you could learn how to do it yourself. If you know how to build a website, if you know how to build a blog website, then honest to God, it's really not hard to do those things over time one day if you want. So I say all of this to say it's better to learn yourself, okay, than to hire someone to do it for you. And I'm not trying to be a preacher. I'm probably coming across as one. I'm not trying to come across as one. I just appreciate the value of learning things and teaching myself things. And, I know, let's say I bought that cake. Let's say hired somebody, a professional, to make that TARDIS cake for my brother, and then it tasted like crap. And then I went back to that person, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know." And then, "Oh, it wasn't me; it was somebody else. Let me go down the line of command." And, "Oh no, it was that person over there. Oh no, I wasn't here that day. It was that person." And then just passing the buck, aren't we? Never understanding how it even got to this point. How did it even get to the point of tasting this terrible? Whereas I was the one that made that cake. I very well knew what the problem was. I thought it would be. I honestly thought it was a fix. I thought it would work. I'm gutted that it didn't. But I went into retirement. I stopped baking for a long, long time after that. Maybe 10 years I stopped baking. I would not come out of baking retirement because I was so humiliated about that. But what it taught me was at least I knew what the problem was. At least, and always make sure we've got maple syrup in golden syrup, not maple syrup. It's important. But yeah, it's important to learn how to build a website ourselves as opposed to just hiring somebody to do it, or even using AI to generate it. Do you know how hard that is to do that? You still have to like program AI to do all the things. And if something goes wrong with that AI for some reason, and then your website gets broken, then what do you do? Do you have to start again? Are you going to get that domain name back? Are you going to have to pay £2,000 after you move it across? What's your plan? Are you going to create a whole new domain? Is that what you're going to do and restructure your entire new business because you now have to start from scratch? It's just not, to me, it's not worth it. To me, it makes more sense to just build it fresh yourself, out of the box, strong, and you understand everything there is to know about your site. So if something happens along the way, which it will, because it's WordPress, it's the internet, then you know what to do. You know how to fix it. So, yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say in this video. It's just a good life skill. Learning WordPress is a great life skill to learn, and I recommend you do it. If you do want to learn how to build a website yourself, I've created a course. It's called the Mumpreneur Web Design Academy. There's a link for it below. It's a 100% beginner-friendly course. I'll teach you everything you need to know from start to finish. You will have an enormous amount of time with me if you want it. I'm here if you want it, and I'm not bombarding you if you don't want it, because you might just want to get on with it, and that's okay. But if you need help, I'm here. We have 2 live Q&A calls every single week. We have a private Facebook group, a private WhatsApp group, a private community. You can WhatsApp me problems or questions. You can drop me messages in Messenger. You can send me videos to the back end of your website if you're stuck on something and you need help. And you can email me as well on top of that. And you will have lifetime access to me. So if in 5 years' time something you've noticed is a pickle with your site and you weren't paying attention, it's okay. And then you'd be like, "Oh no, what do? Something's broken on my website. I wasn't paying attention." Let me know. You have access to me forever. Okay. So it's important for me that I get across to you guys how much I care, that I want to support and I want to help. I truly am here to help, because when you're doing it on your own, you need some support, don't you? You need a community of people to like push you along and help you get through it, because it's not easy when you're on your own. I know that myself. Plus, if you the first 10 students that do enroll to the course will get 50% off discount, so way cheaper than hiring me or any other web designer. Important. And you get a life skill out of it. Oh, and if for any reason you are unable to finish building your website because life be lifing, once you finish your course, all you got to do is drop me a message and just say, "Kate, an emergency came up," or "Kate, I'm struggling. Can you finish the website for me?" And I'll say, "Yeah," and I'll do it free of charge. I won't charge you a penny. It's my gift to you, because I don't want you to leave the course without having a built website. So if you are interested, click on the link below and you can enroll right now. Hopefully you'll get in there before the discount runs out, because I'm probably not going to do it again. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you've got any questions, and I will speak to you in the next video.